From the newsroom to the nursery,
we're juggling a demanding career on live TV with the demands of motherhood.
I'm Katie.
And I'm Karen.
They are AnchorMoms.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of AnchorMoms, the podcast. I think a lot of us are back to school, right? A lot of folks are back to school.
But most people are.
But by the time this recording drops, a lot of us will be back to school, right?
True.
Labor Day has come and gone. River went back to school just this week. She had her first official day yesterday. It went so good. And I never know what to expect. Much like most parents, I never know what to expect. She was jazzed.
Great.
Kindergarten, it's like we're in a whole, like River she's in first grade, but she for some reason thinks that she's like
the queen of the school.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like the big dog, which I'm like, oh, okay. All right,
Sure.
So she's excited to like lord that over the kindergartners. And in fact, last night she got out of the bath and she was like, Mom, first grade is so awesome. And I was like,
yay.
What more could you ask for, right?
Yeah,
now, talk to me in like
perfect.
a week. The next time we record, I'm sure.
Once the homework starts?
Once the homework starts, I'm sure things will, there'll be some bumps in the road. But right now, we're feeling good.
The day we're recording this here, my big kids have not yet started school. That's coming in a couple days. But Sam went back to preschool. He was, home over the summer since the other kids were all home and we had to have a nanny. And he went back and he was jazzed to go back.
I did see Sam. I got to be honest. I saw Sam the day before he went back to school and he was like, can't wait to see my friends.
Yeah.
For which I thought was pretty good for a 2-year-old to be able to communicate to understand that. He was like, yep, excited, pumped. And I was like, okay.
So he was good to go. However, this is hilarious. So I'm like, oh, okay, Sam's back. I'm like, gotta pack the lunch, get out the book bag again. It's been like tucked away all summer, all the things. Oof. Got out like the new packet from the preschool. Okay, what do we need to remember? Da 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 da. I didn't remember any of it. Sam was great. I was like in La La Land. We go and it's, he's like bumped up to the next age group class. Right. And so we knew the teacher already, from last year, but, we go in and she's like, oh, Sam, did you bring your lunch? She's like, yep, here's my Spider-Man lunchbox. I'm ready to go. And she like turns to me and I'm like, shoot, I forgot his blanket for nap time.
Oh. And
she was like, okay, well, that's okay. We've got extras. Like, we'll let him borrow one for today. I'm like, okay. And then she looks at me and she's like, diapers? And I'm like, oh, nope. Didn't bring a single diaper. Nope. Didn't even think of that. She was like, and wipes? I'm like, nope. Mm-hmm. Got nothing there either.
I'm sure they have extras laying around.
They did, but it was just hilarious. Like, it was funny because, in fact, when we picked him up that day, the director was like, well, Sam, it was like he didn't even miss a beat. He, like, was great day. And I was like, yep, I did miss a couple beats, though. Like, I definitely messed up the first day back. I had none of the things I was supposed to have. He ate. That was all. I had, like,
the most important part.
The boy and the food. That was all I got right. But whatever.
Well, I had to ask our nanny earlier this week. I was like, so, Carline, remind me, that starts at what time? Yeah. And she was like, what? Do you need me to pick her up? I was like, no, I got this. But like 3? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, it's been like 2 months.
I know, yeah.
Right? You just get into that.
I did the same thing. I was like, now are the preschool hours still, is it 7:30 to 5:30? Like, I'm just trying to make sure.
It's confusing. Also, I hope I don't make you feel bad about this. I took River's first day back to school. I took an 1.5-hour nap yesterday.
Nice.
Now I got home from work.
Yeah, you have a whole new life.
Yeah, I got home from work at like noon, 12:30. And I don't have to pick River up.
No one was in the house.
Yeah.
It was no one was quiet. Yeah.
I was like, what is this? I was
that does not make me sad at all. That makes me so happy
for
you.
I didn't want to make you feel bad because I know it's every parent's dream to be able to take a nap. But do you know how much it also made me realize the lack of sleep that I have had this summer? Yeah. Like, I felt like even like a new person this morning because I like took a nap and went to bed at my like same old usual time, like, 7:30, 8 o'clock, 8:30, whatever. But yeah, like I was like, oh my gosh, like all summer I like was surviving on like 5 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
I was like, I love school. Let's do this.
We're back in it.
Let's do this. It was so great. It won't happen for me every day, but I'm here for it. I'm here for back to school today.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. No, as you're saying this, I'm thinking like I'm just literally days away from an empty house during the day. The other thing about, for me, not having 4 children in the house all day, I mean, even we've had various nannies all summer and they've done a great job of trying to clean up. But this means that like when we all leave the house in the morning, we return to this house in the same state.
Yes.
Like if it's fairly clean, we come home and it's still fairly clean.
Yes.
In the summer, you come home and like some nannies don't really want to clean up after the kids, or some do, but all the kids are just doing whatever. And I don't fault the nannies. They're doing whatever they can to like help these 4 children survive through the day without killing each other. So like it's okay if the house is a mess, but also you're like, dang, I worked all day.
Mm-hmm.
And now I come home and it's a mess. So yeah, that's another big plus.
But let me say this. I had one of the things in addition to the extra sleep, I had forgotten about the lunch.
Oh, I hate lunches. I hate lunches.
Debacle.
I hate lunches. In fact, Gregory and I have like a pretty heated, last year I was like, you got to take something off my plate.
Mm-hmm.
I do all the things. I mean, not all the things, but a lot of the things. He was like, okay, I'll do the lunches. And I was like, okay. But he is very grumbly about it. He hates doing the lunches. I mean, everyone hates doing the lunches. What's worse than one lunch? 4 lunches.
Well, that is true.
It's just like this whole lineup of all these lunches and all this food and who gets what and who doesn't like this. And, of course it can't be as easy as like the same thing in all 4 lunch boxes because the kids like different things. It's so awful. And sometimes I'm like, why don't I just fork over the money to let them buy?
Yeah.
It would make my life so much easier.
Yeah. But then would they even eat that? One of my biggest issues is River will just decide one day. Like she was like, how I was eating, that's what she said to me. How I was eating apples with peanut butter? And I was like, I do. She was like,
I'm not into it anymore.
I don't like peanut butter anymore. And I was like, you're 6. Peanut butter is like supposed to be a main staple of your diet. Nope. She's done with peanut butter. It's the age of 6.
Ella Ray doesn't like peanut butter either.
What?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All the other kids do. But our problem is, they don't allow peanut butter in most of the classrooms. So like my go-to peanut butter and jelly sandwich won't work.
Well, miraculously at River School, they do allow it. And of course, that's if you're a parent,
it's the easiest.
It's the easiest thing to do.
You've always got it on hand.
Nope. She's over. She's done with peanut butter. Like, who knows what she'll tell me next week? She'll be like, she's done with bread.
Because you probably aren't a big fan of like the turkey lunch meat.
Yeah. That's like basically what River subsists on. Like turkey, sandwich, hummus, strawberries, some yogurt, but she's tired of the squeezy yogurt. So we're done with that. She has to have like let me tell you something. So I was like, River, if you're done with the squeezy yogurts, what is like, could we get you the yogurts with, that you eat with a spoon? Like a grown-up yogurt.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, yeah, we'll try it. So like 2 weeks ago, I like went and I got like, the yogurts that like the fruit yogurts, but they have like 2 grams of sugar. Cause some yogurts can be like out of control, just not good for you. So I stack these up and she's like kind of eating them. She's kind of into it. Well, then my husband comes home with those yogurts that have the M&Ms.
Oh, gosh.
I was like,
I've never bought those because I'm like, I can't do it.
Yeah. What are you doing? And he was like, what? I was like, now it's over. The yogurt, like the healthy, the quasi-healthy yogurt is done. Down the drain.
Yeah, we're done.
And he was like, oh, sorry, I don't know. I was like, well, yeah, like, but he said that they went grocery shopping. I don't know what they were doing, but they were at the grocery store and River like saw them and she was like, Dad, they put M&Ms in yogurt. Like to her.
This is the greatest day of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like such a revelation.
Funny. We were in the yogurt aisle and I had some of my kids with me. And I remember like this was recently. And I remember being like, let me like shield my body, somehow block these yogurts. And my kids were like, what are those in there? So I was like, nothing to see here. Move along. Move on to the string cheese section. Let's go.
Right?
Yeah.
Like now she knows this yogurt with M&Ms is out in the world.
And there's like the Oreo one.
Stop. There's Oreo ones?
Mm-hmm.
I just sort of block it from my brain. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'll keep you posted.
Lunches are so hard. I'm like, no, we're only doing one right now and it's terrible. I'm not looking forward to doing 3 more next week.
Well, also, sometimes I'm like,
are you a bento box person?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Isn't everybody?
I think now, yeah.
Right? Yeah. It's just easier.
Yeah.
I like that you can put them in like the inner
so much
part.
less packaging.
Yes. And then you can put the inner part in the dishwasher. That's huge for me. Huge. When you were 20, did you think you would be so excited about dishwashable lunchboxes?
I didn't think I'd be excited about any of this. And guess what? Some of it I'm not that excited about, but you still got to do it because we're moms. That's what we do.
Okay, well, that's true. Moving on. Okay. Our first article comes from Scary Mommy. Welcome back to school and push notification hell. As my kid would say, I want to yeet my phone against the wall.
I don't know what that means, but I'm sure I agree.
Yes, 100%. So this author who I really love, she's from Pittsburgh, by the way. I follow her on Instagram, and she does a lot of the Scary Mommy articles. It's Meg Saint Esprit, if I'm saying that right. She names all of them, and you'll recognize them. If you're a mom, you're like, oh yeah, that one. Power Schools, Class Dojo, Seesaw, Team Snap, some app that manages our lunch accounts or claims to but actually sucks. How many apps can one community use? She writes that our boomer parents love to tell us to put our phones down and be present. Every facet of modern parenting is driven by push alerts and group chats. Like we can't. You just cannot put your phone down. And it is true. And it's like every organization, like the pool has a specific app that they want you to use.
Sam's School, the Big Kids School,
River's School,
the church,
soccer,
the extracurricular. Yeah, all the things. And the other thing that is tricky is some of them, like sometimes it's an alert that you want to hear and you want to respond to right away. Like, the field trip that all the parents want to go to. If you don't check that puppy and put your name in there right away, you missed it. Yeah. Sorry, you're out. The list for the, picnic at school. I got to get in there quickly so I can get my paper plates because I'm not bringing food. I'm not cooking something. You gotta manage those things and watch those alerts. You can't just put your phone down and not watch those things coming in.
Well, and this writer says
there's so many of them.
There's so many of them, and sometimes there's so many of them you have a hard time deciphering between. You can't really ignore them, to your point, because sometimes you
They're
legit need to respond to them. But also sometimes you're unsure, schools send emergency notifications through that app. Hey, we're releasing early or, your kid is sick. You have to respond. You have to look at them. You can't ignore them. I thought this was a great point. Rivers School uses one of these apps. And I really enjoyed this last year. But this part, I did not consider this. Her teacher would take some pictures and then send it to the specific app of what they were doing in kindergarten, which I was like, oh, cute. But this writer argues that she has a friend that these apps make it easier to helicopter parent, even though that's not generally her nature. And it is true. I would be like, what's River wait, does her face, is she sad? She's sad because today was the cupcake lunch day and I was, you're zooming in on their faces or well, River, they just sent 10 pictures and River's not in any of these pictures. What is she doing? Is she not enjoying this craft,
Yeah.
Then, this is also a great point. What about the coaches and the teachers who now have the ability the parents have this expectation to be updated. Just I'm sure that was the thing is River's teachers were if I didn't send these, parents would be well, what happened today at the bring your pet to school day event? Like, they have this obligation.
Whereas when we were growing up, like our parents never heard from the teacher unless like you were dying or something, you know, like there was no app, there was no pictures, there was no photo evidence of any of it. There was no communication.
And you just like, your parents were like, hey, did you have a good day at school?
And you're like, yeah.
But how did the cupcake lunch go? Fine. Great. You know?
Yeah, all of it. I agree. I do think it's good. I love the fact that we can now text with, essentially through these apps, communicate with teachers very easily, which is super helpful. But there was one last year, I got a notification. I had like missed that there was a field trip. And I guess you like can't take the child on the field trip. Like you can't get on the bus unless the parent signs a form. But it was like an urgent message. It was like, we're leaving in 5 minutes. You got to sign this document right now or else like your kid's not going to get to go. Like, you can't ignore these, you know, I was like, oh gosh,
yeah.
You know, some of them are very important.
Yeah, they are very important.
Or, you know, relatively speaking.
So, you know, again, River just started first grade this week. And I already really like her teacher.
Oh, good.
Because I'll just tell you, like, she sent a letter home and she was like, I will not be, this is not verbatim, but this was the gist of it. I will not be like updating you every day on your kid.
Yeah.
If there's something
that you need to know,
I'll call you. I check my email like one time in the morning, one time at the night. Sometimes I'll check it during the school day, but I cannot promise you. Like, she's already laying down the expectations because she knows that there are parents out there who are or, you know, just the expectation now. It's like not even like they just assume like we all have our, you know, a phone in our pocket. We all have a computer in our pocket. Like the expectation is that you're going to be like, you know, everybody's available 24/7 kind of thing.
Well, don't worry. Bennett's teacher, I think I told you this the other day. Bennett's teacher through the app sent out a full class message that was like, was so lovely to talk with all the parents today. Loved chatting with all of you. I explained yada, yada, yada in my phone calls with you guys. Like, here's kind of the layout for the year. And I get this message and I'm like, what? I didn't get a phone call from this teacher. So I immediately message back and I'm like, I'm sorry, did I miss something? Like, here's my phone number. Do you need to call me? Like, am I not on the list? What's going on? I'm like panicked. And then he responds right away and is like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'll call you tomorrow, you know. So I'm like, okay, well, okay. And then I get home. He had called Gregory and Gregory had not told me. He was like, oh, guess who called me today? Talk to the teacher.
And you were like, what?
I'm like, what? And also, why in the world would you call the dad and not the mom?
Said that. And I was like,
come on. Well, my number is first on like every single list because I do all the paperwork.
Because you're the mom.
Yeah.
So here's my only question, because I was reflecting on that after you said that. What if the parents aren't together and you're calling one and not the other? Like, what an interesting conundrum.
Yeah.
Like, you're assuming that like you're calling one parent or just like a parent and that is like representative of you calling the parents or like calling that family. But what if?
Yeah. Well, now at like back to school night tonight, I'm going to have to be like, I apologize, sir.
Me,
like,
sorry.
I promise I do sometimes speak with my husband, although it may not appear that way.
He's going to be like, you guys need some better communication.
Yeah. Like, what's going on with you guys?
Also, this is what I would say. And Greg, I'm sorry. You can correct me the next time I see you. If the teacher, if like River's like newly minted kindergarten teacher called me like in the summertime to be like, I would text Brian to be like, just talk to River's like teacher and he or she seems great. Like, you know, like it's just so funny. Like, right?
I do not want to throw him under the bus, but I don't know. This is a good topic of conversation.
Yeah.
Listeners, you can be thinking about your response here, but we should put this on social media and see.
Yes.
I get we communicate so little during the day.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know. I mean, Gregory's very busy. I'm very busy. But yes, like if the teacher had called me, I would have texted Gregory and be like, oh, just talk to the teacher.
Yeah.
I get such little communication from Gregory during the day. Very little. Like, unless.
Is he just busy?
He's busy. But
we're busy too. You're busy too.
I know he's busy, but I would be interested to hear if most husbands are like doing their thing and don't think to communicate during the day, during the workday, or maybe it's just mine. I don't know. But yes, there is very little communication. And if he calls or if I call, it is like something major happened. You know, I try not to call him unless it's funny. We were at a work event for him, and there was the spouses were talking, and one of them said, "Oh yeah, we have a rule that I do not text or call during the workday unless it is an absolute emergency."
What?
Yeah, and I'm like, I mean, my husband's a financial advisor. He's not like in surgery saving someone's life. Like, I know he's busy, but also like he can shoot me a text.
What? Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So interesting.
People text me on the anchor desk. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and I mean, I'm obviously not a surgeon as well, but like, I'm literally like anchoring the news, and my phone is like buzzing from family members, from whatever, and they know like my phone is on vibrate, and I'm like happy to have it, but it just would never occur to me to be like, don't do it. Maybe I should. No, because I want to hear from them.
But do you and Brian text often during the day?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We usually like we'll talk once I get off the desk, like just because this is the problem too. We don't see each other in the mornings. Like we don't see each other until he comes home from work. And like a night like tonight, like Brian has a dinner. Like I don't know. I may not see him today. I may not see him today. So, you know, in fairness, like we're going to talk most of the time, like at least once on the phone in the morning, just because it's not like we're like, okay, have a great day. Like, here's what we're doing today. Here's your, here's your breakfast. Here's your coffee. Like, yeah, do you know what I'm saying? But even if we weren't, like, we text back and forth, like we were just texting about the car. We'll like text back and forth about like, weekend plans. So and so said that. Yeah. We're both big. He's more of a phone talker than I am. I was talking about this on Instagram earlier this week, but like I'll text you all day long.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, anyway, good luck with all those push notifications is the main message here. And let's hope you and your spouse have a good communication when it comes to the notifications. Okay, I have a mums. This is a little segment about something we think would be useful for you. And this is something that actually came up when we were with you guys this past weekend. And I was telling your husband, this is a very specific thing. But if you are in the in need of some Adirondack chairs.
Oh.
We recently upgraded ours from, we had those like junky plastic ones for a long time. And we're like, we need to get I don't know. Are they really wood anymore? But they're, the poly whatever ones.
Some people do. We have a poly ones. Then we have like the plastic ones. Right. And then some folks have like the legit wood ones.
Well, these are the poly ones. But there are I'm bringing this up because we were looking for them and there are so many options now. And they can be very expensive.
They are.
And it was one of those things that I was like, and it's just, it's one of those items that you wish you could like go to a store and sit in them and see them before you purchase. But unfortunately, that's just like not the way society works anymore. Anyway, so I did some research. Gregor and I both like spent some time looking at like which had the best reviews, what are the best ones out there. Anyway, we got these ones on Amazon and they were very easy to put together. And we love them. And they feel very durable and nice. And I feel like the price is great. It was a four Adirondack chairs, of course, different colors. And they were $340.
That is good.
So I feel like you can spend, easily more than $100 a pop.
For sure. We have a couple of those poly Adirondack chairs. And they're
foldable
really
ones, not foldable. Anyway, yada. If you're in the market for these, we'll post the link in our show notes. But a 4-pack of Adirondack chairs that we thought were very great. For less than $400.
And here's what's great about those poly ones. You can
leave them outside.
The wood ones, but the weather just beats the heck out of them. Like the sun, the snow, the cold, the heat. Yeah.
These will last for a long time. Okay, the next article is from today, and it's called What is a Venmo Mom? One mom explains why she refuses to volunteer at her kids' schools. I love this. This is a mom in Tennessee. She has 4 kids. She does not want to be involved in any of the things. I don't remember if she works now that I'm talking about this or not, but it doesn't really matter. She,
I can't remember. My instinct is to say yes, but now I'm looking through the article.
But she basically says, look, I don't want to do any of the things. I don't want to come to the school and do crafts. I don't want to bring food for the teachers. I don't want to do any of the things, but I will send you moms who want to do it whatever money you need. So she's just very honest about the fact that she's like, I will Venmo you whatever money you need to support the students and the staff, but I do not want to be involved. Of course, some people are like, well, that's rude, you know, but others are like, no, I hear ya. I have to say, I try so hard to be involved when I can, but I work full time and have 4 kids. So it's very, very difficult. I'm here for this. I'm kind of like, I so often, as I mentioned earlier, am like, what can I send money for the picnic? I'm not going to be able to like make a breakfast casserole in the morning, but I will gladly like send in money or send in something non-perishable the week before. And I generally at the beginning of school, the school year, will say to the teachers, look, I work full time. I have 4 children. I would love to support you in any way you can. I can. I'm not going to be able to come in often. I'm not going to be able to do like a once a week reading thing. But you let me know if you need something from the dollar store, if you need something from Target, whatever, I can Instacart that and I can bring it in the next day. Like, you know, whatever you need, I can do it in a Venmo type form, but I cannot be responsible for like showing up in person and being that sort of helper in the classroom. And I think that they appreciate that. And I've had teachers be like, okay, like we'll let you know when we like need some money or need some glue sticks or whatever, you know. There was all these like descriptions of these other moms now, and one of them said, I'm a Venmo mom with a side of field trip mom. And I was like, that's where me. I am. That's where I am.
Yeah. Like
I'll do a field trip every once and again, and I'll send you whatever money you need.
I'm a Venmo mom. I, River School does this super fun chili cook-off every year. Like I can't cook the chili. Because that just feels like a lot of pressure and a lot of time I cannot do. But I will. Last year I baked the cookies and I will bring some napkins and I will send you money. I can't be a room mom. Honestly, that gives me just it just gives me too much anxiety to even think about. Like I just can't do it. Even if I had the time to do it, I just know my personality and it would just, I would want to do it to such a T and like it would be just so much pressure for me.
The only thing, and I think it's fine if there's moms on both sides. The only thing I feel bad about is I don't want, and I feel like I've had this in some classes with my kids at their school. Like I do feel bad if it all falls on like 1 or 2 moms who are also perhaps working, but they just like take
that's what I was just going to say. Like this is the only problem. If everybody is a Venmo mom, then
somebody's got to show up.
And when you have young kids, River's age, Bennett's age. You can tell me if Ella Ray still feels this way. These parties, these like chili cook-offs, these whatever, insert whatever, is like the highlight of River's week. It's so funny because you forget when you're an adult, you get sort of jaded and you get kind of like your instinct is to roll your eyes at this kind of stuff. But not River. She's literally like, okay, waiting on when is this? When's the party? When is that? She gets really excited about it. And I want her to have that. So thank you to those moms. And I'm always happy to, like, I always bring something. I do sign up for the ice cream sell on Fridays, which I'm always, like, when it comes, I'm always like, okay, I'm going to work all day on Friday and then I'm going to go and do, like, ice cream duty. But it's always worth it because you get to sort of like get to know people in school. River is, and this will change. I have a funny feeling as she gets older. River is always super excited to to see me at school, to know that I'm coming into school, like that kind of thing. But the other thing I want to say is like, isn't everybody sort of like on one team or the other? Like there's just those people who are really good at being there and organizing. And then there's like people who are like, it's
not my cup of tea.
Less so. I like to think that I'm sort of in the middle there.
I would say the same for me. And I do think there are some, I have to believe, at least in my kids' school, I know that there are some moms who don't work and who do want to come in weekly and do all the things. And I'm so happy for them to be able to do that. But yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot of pressure.
And also like maybe I'm just not remembering. I don't remember my mom ever coming to the school.
Well, my mom worked 2 jobs and was a single mom. So like she didn't.
Yeah.
And I forgive her for that. I don't care.
I mean, my mom wasn't working during the school day, but I just don't think these things existed in this extent that they do now. You know, like there wasn't, you know, a form every other week to volunteer for XYZ. Mm-hmm. I don't think.
I don't know. I can't remember those either. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess if like, to your point, if like we're not remembering, then hopefully our kids won't remember either.
Well, I just think there's a lot more like hubbub these days. A lot more events.
A lot of hubbub.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the third article. This one is from HuffPost, and it's called, the title is Things Kids Totally Notice Without Adults Realizing It. Children are paying attention to more than parents and caregivers might think. And this article, like, I was like, oh, shoot. This is totally true. And I'm really guilty of not being good about some of these. So they asked experts what sorts of things children pick up on that adults don't always realize they're noticing. And by the way, the list isn't designed to be judgmental. Rather, it's a reminder we can all bring a little more awareness to our day-to-day interactions. This is a good article because after I have read this, there are certain things this week that I was like, Brian,
zip it.
No, you can't do it. Number one is how you feel about your partner, co-parent, or other caregivers. Number two, how you feel about your body. Number three is what you actually value. Number four, your self-compassion or lack thereof. Number five, your relationship with food. And number six is how you talk about your kid to other adults.
Mm-hmm. I think those are all really good things that I fell into this. Sometimes I'm having a conversation with another mom, and I do just, especially if like it's a play date or something and the kids are playing, you're just talking about all the things. And all of a sudden you're like, ooh, was anybody listening to that? Mm-hmm. Yes, they are.
They are. No, they like legit are, because River has regurgitated things that I'm like, what? Yeah. So out of that list, I think all of these are good. The first one, how you feel about your partner, co-parent, or other caregivers. Mm-hmm. Just a reminder to sort of like talk kindly to your spouse.
Especially when I'm like telling my children to talk nicely amongst themselves. And then here I am like kind of like being snarky with my husband.
Exactly.
Sorry.
The other one is the number three is what you actually value. So it's like the article brings up this point where you're like, you know, these team sports, like it's all about having fun and forming relationships and getting exercise. And then you're like, well, you should have done this or you should have done that to make that
goal.
Did you
win? Did you get it? Did you score a goal?
Exactly.
Like that's the first question I asked.
Yeah. Or, you know, you say you value kindness, but then you're not nice to your spouse or you're not
talking about some other family.
Correct. Correct. So I will say this. The other thing, Brian and I just had this conversation. I think I've mentioned this previously on the pod, is just that he'll like sometimes joke like, oh, that cookie is good, you know, fat guy in a skinny shirt. Like he'll say that kind of stuff. And I'm always like, no. Like River, I know you think like you're being funny, but like River hears that and thinks that, you know, it's, you know, I don't want her to think negatively about herself or other people. Like, I'm just like, don't say the word fat. Ever.
Yeah.
Just don't say it. And he kind of looks at me like I'm crazy. And I'm like, just don't say it.
Yeah.
Especially to a girl, especially to our girl, you know?
So I had like a great example of this that actually had to do with you. So we were at Yale's Lake House this past weekend, and couple days go by, right? And I'm putting Henry to bed and he goes, Mom, I really just want to ask you, you said to Katie at the lake, no, I really want to do the dishes. And he said, but you hate doing the dishes. Like, I don't understand why you would have said that to her. Yeah. Like, I don't get it. And I was like, first of all, how in the world was that something that you heard me say? And like, obviously has been in your brain for like multiple days. Yes. And then you wanted to bring it up and address it with me. And I think for him, he was like confused because he's like, my mom hates doing the dishes. Why would she want to do the dishes at someone else's house? And so then I was like, okay. I was like, well.
Also, why would you? But anyway.
Yeah. Well, also I was like, well, first of all, per this article, they're always listening, right? Was like one takeaway. But also then I tried to be like, well, you know, like they had hosted us and they had cooked dinner. And so it's nice to like share the chores. And so I wanted to like do a chore to help out. Anyway, but it was so funny because he was just like, I heard you say that. And like for days I've been like, why would my mom say that? Yeah. She hates the dishes. Right. Like she acted like she wanted to do the dishes. And like that was a lie. Like what is happening here? Yeah. But anyway, it was just a funny.
Well, and it's just a good reminder that like kids take things so literal.
Yes.
So even a better reason. He was
like, you lied to Katie. Yeah. Like you do not like to do the dishes. Why did you do the dishes? Like what was that about?
Even a better reason to just remember what you're saying. Like I said, after I read this article, it's kind of like it's a reminder to sort of police yourself for your kid, but also
like, why not be a better person?
Police yourself.
Yeah,
exactly. Like I found myself, Brian was like, you know, just talking about things that happen in his day. And River was like there and he was just, you know how it is. Like you're complaining, you're like whining. And I was like, you know, River is listening and you might want to like, you would not be happy if she were to talk like this. So it's probably not okay that and he was like, oh, I was like, I'm going to send you this article. But it's not just him. Like we all do it. I just happen to have read the article recently. So I have a win.
What is it?
So you kind of talked about this. We were going out to the lake this past weekend. It had been on the books for a really long time. My best friend from high school, her husband and her 2 kids were going to travel down from Pennsylvania and called me last week and they had a pipe burst in their house. And I was very sad because I only get to see her like once or twice a year. She couldn't come. And Brian and I were like, well, we're still going to go. Like we have this like house and beds and it's like, like, what should we do? So, and you actually said to me, like, this is so unlike you because I've said before on the podcast, I'm the least spontaneous person you will ever find. But like we invited you guys and our neighbors who have 3 girls. And it ended up being.
It was so fun.
So fun. It ended up being so fun. We spent time on the boat. We like cooked burgers.
Tubing.
Karen did my dishes. We went tubing. We like sat around the fire. We did s'mores.
Yeah.
But it was like just it was a win that you did not see coming. Because at first I was like, and River.
You were devastated that your friend couldn't come.
I was really sad. River was she loves their kids. And she was like, what? It's just like, I want somebody to, Mom, I need a playmate. Like, what are you doing? And I was like feeling so bad and so guilty about it. And then it ended up being.
How can we get the most bang for our buck? Come on over.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. And we all ended up having a really good sort of like summer going out with a bang. Yeah. It was fun. It was really nice. I'm so glad you guys came.
It was really nice. Thanks for having us.
Oh, anytime.
It was a very, very good time. No one like, there was no like injuries. Everyone survived the tubing.
Yeah.
There was some close calls. Some kids popped off, but everybody made it. Yeah,
I know. A weekend at the lake, you just never know. But yeah, it's fun also. You and
the girls had like a little sleepover. They both fell asleep in the same room together.
Which was very dicey. Very dicey. At one point so Karen and I put them to bed. We were like, all right, good night, girls. This is Bennett and River in the same room. And then we like both snuck down to the fire. And like after like 10 minutes, both the girls were standing on the porch, like sobbing, like, we're scared. And I was like, okay. Oh, shoot. All right, let me put down my beer here. Okay.
Go back up and put you to bed again.
Anyway, it was a really fun weekend. So I'm glad we did it.
It was. Hope everyone has a great week and is surviving the back to school shuffle.
Yeah. And that I hope you get an hour and a half.
Oh, yeah. Take a nap.
Take a nap.
Get yourself a nap.
Bye. Anchor Moms is a Sinclair podcast produced out of WLOS in Asheville. We're your hosts, Katie Killen and Karen Zakalek. Anchor Moms is edited by Matthew Yates.
For more information on the topics discussed in this episode and to stay up to date on future episodes, follow us on Instagram @AnchorMoms.
You can follow Anchor Moms on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Know a parent who could benefit from this week's Anchor Moms episode? Your recommendations help our show to grow, so spread the word.